just wanted to start off by apologizing for lying to you. In my opening episode, my intro one, I talked about, I still don't know why I was episodes, but anyway, I talked to you about I'm not going to do takes or edit, and I'm just trying to really put this information out there and not really trying to become a professional YouTuber. I think, with my 46 subscribers now, I'm starting to think maybe I'm getting there. But I did just delete a video that I made because it was the worst rambling pile of trash that I think if anybody watched it, I'd have to apologize. So hopefully we'll do a little bit better this time. Regardless of how it goes, I'm just gonna put it up there, and I'm sorry. I think I've already apologized for not being better looking, but I'm sorry that I'm also not good at editing these. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the roof and structure. It turns out this is what the big holdup has been on our project. Is our initial plans didn't have enough detail in the roof and some of the structure for the city to issue a permit. There has been a lot of back and forth between the architect and the engineer in the city, and I didn't know this. I was completely left out of the loop on this. I think it's pretty much because the site supervisor, who's the person I work with all the time, was being left out of the loop. I had a nice long meeting with my builder, the actual owner of the company today, and really got an understanding of what's been the problem and how we're going forward. I did get a copy of these plans. Let's see there. Before I forget, in that vein of me becoming a professional YouTuber, like, subscribe, and comment, please. Still, really, that's, I don't know. I think that'd be hilarious if that ever happened. But, it is nice to see. I've gotten to meet a lot of people that are doing similar projects already that have found me through here. Not a lot, but a few. And that's sort of neat. And anytime that you interact with the video, it then shows it to more other people, and there's a better chance of me finding more of them. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end, probably, if I remember. So that'll be exciting for all of us to see. Anyway, it is mind-blowing that our original plans had less detail than this, and that this is really just all the city was waiting for. But I think that when they were originally made, we hadn't decided on the type of roof we're doing. And then somewhere along the way, it never got added back in. But so we're going to do a metal roof. One, it's cost effective. It's also, goes with the containers pretty well. And so that's all we're doing. This was the level of detail that we needed to add, which just isn't terribly much. You can see, we're using C channel, and we're just, putting it together here. There's this little spacer, so they had to add a third picture that shows the spacer. And I love that, they have to have notes, something like this, all metals, to be welded to engineer specifications. And so, he does come out and check the project. He checked the foundation after we did it, and, he's stamping it. I don't know, it just seems almost comical to me that you have to put a note like that, because we all know that that's what's going on. But I guess that's in lieu of having more details about the way that weld is. But that's really it on the roof. And then we had some structural issues. So this is a spot where two of the containers are together, but this room from here all the way to here is wide open. And so all the corrugated steel has been taken out of this area. That steel adds some rigidity to this, even though it doesn't really add strength, because the metal frame is really based on the four corners, but you will get some sagging. And so although, I think there's zero chance that these giant metal bars would ever cave in under the weight of the roof, it could potentially sag. We already had been planning on putting these structural supports, and already bought the metal even. They just weren't shown on here the way that they needed to be, and it was just these three spots that we needed structural beams, and then there were 4 spots where there are already walls, so we don't need a beam. We can hide a column in each of these walls. And that was it. This was really what we had to add. I think there were a few other little details. I know we had shown a water heater up here, but maybe it wasn't actually labeled. But there were just a few things, and these are now submitted to the city. That should mean that we'll have. Can you believe this is my second take? It's going way better, if you can imagine. Yes, it's late. I probably should have waited till tomorrow to do this, but it was something I thought is interesting to me, and I think probably other people will deal with this. I've talked to a lot of people that have had problems with the plans that they bought online, or with the engine, or with the architects that they have. So I think it's pretty common to run into this. One of the problems is we already put in the ground screw foundation, and we've already done a bunch of work on the containers, and we're kind of stuck waiting, paying for storage for where I'm keeping the containers where we're working. We don't want to move the crew to another project, and so we've been just sort of sitting here waiting for this permit, doing any little thing we can think of in the meantime. But so this was it. This was what was holding us up. Now that's done, I'm hoping sometime next week we'll actually get to take those containers we've been working on, move them over, set them on top of the screws. I think that will be a fun video to do. And I'll be excited if stuff is really moving at that point. I also should have my first draft from my new architect for the tiny home project that I'm working on Monday, so we'll see that also. I think I'm going to do that with SIPS panels, and I'm interested how many people know what a SIPS panel is. I've realized it's not as common of a term as I think it is, right? They've been around for quite a while. But if you don't mind, put a comment below. Do you know what a SIPS is? Do you have any idea? Does it have something to do with drinking? It doesn't. But I think maybe that's what we're going to do the tiny home with, because we went away from container construction for a couple of reasons. I think I talked about those in the other container design, or the tiny home design video I did, but I'll talk more about it too when we have those drawings, hopefully Monday. It'll be really interesting to see if she does get me that first draft on Monday. It will be the first architect that gave me plans the day they said they would. So that will be exciting. Anyway, glad this wasn't quite as horrible of a rambling mess as the first one. No, you can't see that I deleted it already. But until next time, I will keep making mistakes so you don't have to.